Come see us live on tour. We'll be in Los Angeles, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Baltimore, Hartford, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. It's happening. U.S. agents begin arresting undocumented migrants in Chicago. Now, are they undocumented? I mean, or they're here illegally, and that's why they're undocumented. Oh, that's right. They're undocumented because they're here illegally. So I had this conversation with my good friend Aaron Mate, and he said, "Oh no, they're undocumented migrants." And I'm like, "Now we're
they are documented because they have criminal records.
Yeah, so
that are documented here.
So they're going.
So now
that's right.
You just wanted.
So they're actually what it seems like they're concentrating on, and which is what I predicted, is that they're going to close down the border, which they're doing. They're already sending the military to the border. Malcolm, could you find a video of that on Twitter of them sending the military? Maybe even a short news report of them sending. They're sending the Marines and those kind of planes where the props go like this instead of like that. And anyway, I'd like to show that. And I said that they would go after mostly criminals. People are afraid, they're going to get rid of the farm workers. Believe me, Trump is not going to upset and rise everybody's grocery bills because he got rid of all the undocumented workers. That's not going to happen.
All criminal records. How about that?
He's going after the people that they know are criminals. That's what it seems like. That was my prediction. That's what it seems like. So here,
they're just committing the crimes Americans don't want to do.
That's right. So here we see some U.S. agents in Chicago breaking into someone's apartment just to get warm. Anyway, that's what's happening there. So here's one of the criminals they got. This guy's got a criminal record. He's from Haiti. So, and he's undocumented, meaning he's here illegally, and he's got a criminal record. So let's watch this.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
He's a gang member. So I don't think people could be against this, right?
It's so okay. I'm not against it at all. However, these footage, the clips from this are so like perfect TV. Like the guy's going Biden forever.
Well, let's watch it first, and then we'll talk about it.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Well, come on.
First of all, he doesn't sound Haitian. I'll tell you that.
He did a little bit. He's been here for a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
Señor, ¿cómo se llama?
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies. And in a
So I just want to tell you the sanctuary city thing is BS, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. But Chicago and Brandon Johnson, the mayor, declared Chicago a sanctuary city. So then the Governor Abbott of Texas started sending them immigrants, undocumented immigrants, to Chicago. And then he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" We're like, "Well, what do you
document them.
What do you mean? You said that you are a sanctuary city." And so then they spent $51 million. They allotted $51 million to take care of the undocumented migrants, and the black people in Chicago went berserk, as rightly they should, because they've been waiting for their piece of the pie for a long time, and all of a sudden they pulled $51 million out of their ass. And I'm going to show you that in a second. So the black people in Chicago are siding with Trump on this, just so you know.
Of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally. This is what ICE calls collateral.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
So our main target was released by a sanctuary jurisdiction, not honoring a detainer. That person was released back into the community, and when we went to go find him, he's with somebody else who was previously removed from the United States. So he's going to go today too.
And that is exactly what Border Czar Tom Homan has warned would happen.
When we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them.
ICE Boston says they will continue to go into sanctuary jurisdictions and do their job.
Today was a good day. Today we took several significant public safety threats out of our communities. Unfortunately, a lot were released by sanctuary policies, but we're here to tell the Commonwealth and the rest of the country that we're going to find them whether they're released or not.
And guys, shortly after we finished...
So that wasn't Chicago. That was Boston.
Filming, ICE Boston told us they arrested 2 more targets in other parts of town away from our cameras. One of those targets is a previously deported Honduran illegal alien who was arrested.
Does Vanilla Ice know you're going to his barber? That's my question.
Look at that hair.
Yeah, he's talking about Vanilla Ice cracking down on immigrants.
Vanilla Ice, baby. Dun, dun, dun,
Look at
dun,
that.
dun, 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 dun. Come on. Even Jackson Hinkle doesn't sport that big of a wave. You could surf off that thing. Are you kidding me?
It's a wavelo.
Come on. What is that a North Shore haircut? Come on.
For raping a woman while putting a gun in her mouth. The other target they got is a Haitian man who first flew into the United States in 2023 as part of President Biden's controversial migrant flights mass parole program. Well, they just picked him up yesterday because he's been arrested locally for sexual assault. We'll send it back to you.
Bill Mallusion, it was fascinating to watch all of that. I think I was just saying to Bill, this is terrible for Joe Biden and the legacy that he tried to leave behind. A question from me.
Did you get some whiter people to cover this story? Maybe? I don't know.
I mean, they got the guy with the supreme Uber hair, the ultimate
That's
good
like
hair,
like out of a comic book hair, almost. Anyway.
Yeah.
How soon will they actually be leaving the country? Does that take a long time?
It depends what country they're from. If they're from cooperable countries like El Salvador, Guatemala, countries like that, it can be quick. It can be within days or weeks. If it's countries that are harder to deport, countries that don't cooperate with the U.S. as much, it can go into a process of months. But the Trump administration is changing policies with something called expedited removal. The bottom line is people at home don't need to understand all the policies. The Trump administration is just going to work as fast as they can to get all the people you just saw on camera there out of the country as fast as possible. They're also going to use their State Department, now led by Marco Rubio, to put pressure on countries that don't cooperate with the U.S. as much when it comes to those deportations.
Bill, just two points of clarification here. It seems a lot of these crimes are associated with sex crimes. I'm just looking at the list a bit earlier today. I don't know if that generally is the case or not. And second, if Boston's a sanctuary city, how are they allowed to do this? Because we told there would be resistance.
Boston doesn't have to cooperate with ICE, but there's nothing they can do to stop ICE from coming into their city and enforcing the law. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. And that's the point ICE makes to us is, look, they don't have to cooperate with our detainer requests. They don't have to tell our officers when they're releasing somebody from jail. But we're going to do our job. We have our intel guys out in the field. We have people with eyes all over the place, and we're going to snatch those guys. So they can make ICE's job more difficult, longer, and more dangerous, but it's not going to stop ICE from doing the job, guys. The bottom line is, ICE says it's safer for everybody involved if locals would just hand these guys over in jail once they're arrested, but they don't. They let them out onto the streets.
That sounds so crazy. That sanctuary stuff it sounds the crazy. And believe me, the people in Chicago, I don't know about the people in Boston, but I know people in Chicago. Kit Cabello, who does Hardlens Media, he tells me the people in Chicago are on the board of on the side of these policies to get rid of sanctuary cities, and that Chicago can't even take care of their own people. They just closed 54 schools, and now they're going to take. So it doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to show you that. Here's Tom Homan. He's already rounding up criminals in Chicago. Here we go.
Where we heading, Tom?
In Chicago, Illinois, we're going to arrest public safety threats. We got all of government approach. We got U.S. Marshals, we got FBI, we got ATF. we got DEA, we got ICE, we got HSI, we got them all here. So the president's plan of all of government is that illegal alien crime in this city, we're going to address it today, starting now.
And you know that he's serious when he's got police lights coming out of his eyes. That's and so here,
Brandon eyes.
I just wanted to show you this. Here's Joe Biden in 2008. He was asked about sanctuary city policies and can cities disregard the federal laws about immigration. And here's what he had to say about it.
Would you allow these cities to ignore the federal law regarding the reporting of illegal immigrants and, in fact, provide sanctuary to these immigrants?
The reason that cities ignore the federal law is the fact that there is no funding at the federal level to provide for the kind of enforcement at the federal level you need. Pick up the New York Times today. There's a city not far across the river from my state that imposed the similar sanctions. And what they found out is, as a consequence of that, their city went in the dumps, in the dumpster. Stores started closing. Everything started to happen. And they changed the policy. Part of the problem is you have to have a federal government that can enforce laws. This administration has been fundamentally derelict in not funding any of the requirements that are needed even to enforce the existing law.
So, Senator Biden, yes or no, would you allow the cities to ignore the federal law?
No.
Okay.
Okay. It's a long answer, but we got there. So Joe Biden, previous Joe Biden, was on board for this. In fact, emphatically. The operation targeted about 270 known criminals, according to television personality Dr. Phil, who was accompanying ICE officials and agents at their command center in Chicago and live streaming the events for his channel, Merit TV. Boy, I got to tell you. Anyway, I mean, you know, I know his agent couldn't get him rebooked on The View, but what kind of a phone call was that? I can't get you rebooked on The View, but do you want to go arrest some sex traffickers?
Hey,
Whoa.
remember when Steven Seagal had a comeback because he became sheriff of a Louisiana parish?
So Chicago has been on edge for more than a week after news outlets reported the administration's plans for raids, with fewer people venturing outside in heavily immigrant neighborhoods. Just under a fifth of Metro Chicago's population was born outside of the United States. That's according to the census. A grouping that includes people with immigration statuses ranging from naturalized citizens to undocumented. Well, how many of those fifth are naturalized and documented? That's my question.
Yeah, well, it's a range. It's a range from legal to not legal.
And how come Kamala didn't take care of this when she was border czar? And why was she the border czar in the first place? And also, why is it called a czar? Is Putin behind this? So is it just known criminals? If it's just known criminals, I'm okay with that, right? And or is it their entire families?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
If they cooperate, they'll just get the known criminals. If you make us do all the work, we're just going to find their families. We're there with them.
Yes,
they can cooperate if they care so damn much. Okay, they can cooperate, but they don't want to. Because they're banking on people are going to feel worse for, like, you know, somebody puts a crying lady on CNN. They're not going to feel worse. The election was pretty clear. Mexicans
comprise the largest group born outside the United States, followed by people from India and Poland. That's in Chicago. A lot of there's more. The number one city for Polish people in the world is Warsaw, Poland. The number two, Chicago, Illinois. Did you know that? At least it was when I was a kid. That's why the Pope went there.
Capital.
You know, Jimmy, I think when you're talking about all of these immigrants that are coming to the country, who does this favor? Who ultimately is this?
Capital. This favors capital.
How so?
This favors corporations because it drives down wages and it divides people. And it makes it harder for workers to organize, all that stuff.
Don't forget trafficking. Don't forget the important trafficking. Drugs, people.
That's right.
He's like, why is it always a sex thing? It's also a drug thing. It's called trafficking.
So 52,000 immigrants have arrived in Chicago since August 2022, when Texas Governor Greg Abbott began busing people from the border to Chicago, among other Democrat-controlled cities, because they said they're sanctuary cities. As a sanctuary city since 1980s, Chicago has adopted policies that limit cooperation with the federal authorities to enforce immigration law. The city council voted this month to reject a proposal that would have weakened those protections. And believe me, the people in Chicago want to weaken those protections. And so the city council is not doing what the people of the city want. And the Chicago Transit Authority is displaying ads on trains and bus stations that direct riders to Know Your Rights websites, which lays out how interact with immigration authorities.
That's funny. Is that going to the ads that say, "Are you being trafficked?" Those ads that are everywhere
Right?
I go.
Homan has talked in recent months about collateral arrests, detaining undocumented people if they are in the presence of someone ICE has a warrant to arrest. That would violate a 2022 court settlement and could make residents of certain states who are detained in such warrantless arrests eligible for immediate release from custody. I don't understand that. So I guess there must have been some kind of settlement that circumvented the laws of immigration, and you could be here illegally, and if you get arrested for it, they have to let you go. I don't.
Yeah, it's malicious. It's not an accident. We think it's a sanctuary cities were invented by Republicans in the first place. If you notice the Uniparty, that's why Dick Cheney liked Kamala, because it's one gang, and part of the gang scheme was to bring as many undocumenteds in here as possible for all the reasons that were mentioned before. And to stick it in your face, too.
And stick it right in your face. On Sunday, Homan agreed when McGraw, also known as Dr. Phil, suggested that collateral arrests were the result of local authorities refusing to cooperate with ICE, prompting federal agents to make arrests in city neighborhoods. That's the game they want to play. Game on. We're going to do it. By the way, his full name is Dr. Phil the Bus. Anyway, if you know what I'm talking about. Immigration advocates fear the executive orders Trump issued last week constitute a large-scale attempt to dismantle due process protections. Expedited removal, which is deportation of people without a judicial hearing or legal counsel, typically applies to people detained within 100 miles of the U.S. border. Trump is attempting to extend it throughout the country for anyone who cannot prove to an ICE agent's satisfaction that they have resided in the U.S. for at least 2 years. Mary Meg McCarthy, executive director for the Chicago-based National Immigrant Justice Center, said many of the orders violated U.S. law and the Constitution. Really?
What?
Really?
Enforcing the U.S. law violates the U.S. law? Is that what you said?
That's what she's saying.
Okay.
Trump's rhetoric on familiar cruelty and dehumanization, now paired with the full force of the executive branch in Congress, will unleash profound suffering on our longtime immigrant neighbors and people who have arrived more recently to seek refuge, she said.
I mean, these are people that want to put people in COVID camps for not getting the jab. This is like the people saying this shit.
That's you have to remember that. And I'm going to show you in a minute that the people of Chicago are on Trump's side in this because they've done it right in their face. You know how there's homeless people and they're disinvesting into they closed down 54 schools in Chicago. And then right in their face they give $51 million to illegal immigrants right in their face. So this is to divide workers. This is to divide people so they can't organize against capital. That's what this is about. Other people have other theories that they want to. It's about voting. What I don't know, but I know for sure this is what it's about.
Hey, do you know what they want to do to Russia? Break it up?
They want to break up Russia.
That's the thing they did here. And that's how you do it. And that's why all these countries are bad. That's why China's going to hand us our ass, because they don't let NGOs do this kind of bullshit to them.
The average person's finding it difficult to pay expenses every month, and in most cases, there's nothing left over to cover any extras. Most aren't getting a big raise. Expenses are up, and it's very hard to manage without grabbing for your credit card. So if you're a homeowner and you're frustrated with that cycle, I need you to take a 10-minute, no obligation call today to my friends at American Financing. And if you're constantly carrying a credit card balance each and every month with a rate that's in the 20s or even the 30s, American Financing can show you how to put your hard-earned equity to work and get out of debt. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving their customers an average of $800 a month. And if you get started today, you may not have to make your next month's mortgage payment. There's no upfront fees, so it costs nothing to find out how much you can save every month. Call American Financing today. That's 888-804-0303. That's 888-804-0303. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Jimmy. Come see us live on tour. We'll be in Los Angeles, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Baltimore, Hartford, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.